All right, welcome to our first episode of Geek This. I wanted to call it our first official because our first unofficial was Spider-Verse, which you can listen to right now. Click this link on my voice. No, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do there.
I'm not sure it
Anyway,
works that way.
yeah, yeah. Anyways, I am Peter. I'm joined with my man Tony.
Hey,
We're
everybody.
from the '90s, uh, best buds, and we like talking about all the stuff out there in geek culture, pop culture. And we decided, hey, there's too much shit out there. Sorry for my language. There's too much stuff out there. So as a way to boil down the stuff and like into the things that we might enjoy or the other one might enjoy, and finding new things, we made this podcast called Geek This, and so we'll try to propose something in pop culture that we like to each other and see if we like that.
Yeah, basically, we're gonna just see if we're interested in enough to be able to pursue it on our own. As Peter was saying, it's kind of the idea is to filter out all the crap out, just focus on the good stuff.
Yes, very well put. So we usually start off a Geek This podcast with a segment we've been calling Virgin Ears. We haven't really came up with a new name. We just love Virgin Ears. So what Virgin Ears is, we get a new topic, something new facet in pop culture, be it a show, book, comic book, game, movie, or anything like that. And hopefully the other person we're describing this to doesn't know about it. Thus, their ears are virgin to this new topic.
Exactly.
So I am going to actually have you, Tony, start us off with the show that you think my ears are virgin to.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Sounds good. So the show that I think you haven't heard of or maybe haven't watched is called You. Have you heard of it?
It's just called You. YOU?
YOU. Yes, You.
No, I can safely say I've never heard of it at all.
Oh, all right, I'm about to pop that ear cherry.
Oh
So,
God.
it's an American psychological thriller. It's on Netflix, so it's easily accessible to everybody who has Netflix. Interesting tidbit: it was actually first produced by Lifetime, but Netflix bought it and then is going to continue the show into a second season. So, synopsis.
Ah.
Synopsis. I know when you hear Lifetime, everybody gets turned off, or at least I do. But in this case, it's actually not at all what you probably think when you think Lifetime. Because, you kind of think like cheesy rom-coms, but no way in hell is that anywhere near this.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's too gritty for Lifetime. They didn't want it on the show.
Maybe so. That might be a reason for it. Or maybe it's just Netflix threw a bunch of money at them. Anyway,
Color me indeed then. Go ahead with the
so let
synopsis.
me give you the synopsis. It's about a bookstore manager who he falls in love with a customer, and you think, oh, that sounds so sweet. Well, not so much because he actually becomes obsessed with her. And how about this? I'll just describe it to you the way that it was described to me the first time I heard of this show. And as soon as I heard this, I said I gotta watch it. And the way it was described to me was it's like Dexter, but with social media in modern times. So I don't know if you've
Interesting.
ever seen Dexter, but Dexter's
Yeah.
a show about a serial killer, and it's really, really easy to kind of binge and get into it. And this one's very similar in the sense that you just kind of want to keep watching it episode after episode.
Awesome.
It's based on a book by Caroline Nepps, also called You. It stars the main character is Penn Badgley. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He does a phenomenal job of portraying a perfectly balanced psychopath.
Seen him
Um,
in any?
I'm glad you brought that up. He was actually in Easy A as Woodchuck Todd, if any
Oh,
of you
okay.
saw that
I
film.
got
Yeah,
that. He's probably much older now, but I got.
exactly, yes. Um, and oh my gosh, the only way I can portray him analogous to his character, Joe, in You, if you've ever seen movie American Psycho.
Yes.
It's basically like a rendition of that, but it's so
Nice.
well done. And it's like I said, it's like in modern times using social media, which makes it even more creepier
So
because
he's a Christian Bale type character.
yes, yes, exactly. Gosh, that's a good description too. Let me give you a little bit of background about the script writers. I think this will get you kind of more interested in it. The two script writers are Greg Berlanti and Sarah Gamble. Mr. Berlanti, actually, this is interesting. I thought really fascinating. Berlanti in 2018 set a record in having 15 different live action scripted television
Wow,
series
my
planned
goodness.
to air, yes, in the 2018 to 2019 television season. So just in 1 year, he's had over 15 different live action scripted TVs on various networks and digital platforms. Um,
Wow.
Check this out. If you thought that blew your mind, as a matter of fact, he signed the most expensive producer deal ever with Warner Brothers. So it's easy to say this guy knows his stuff. He's definitely worth it.
Nice.
Um, Another bit of trivia, this will be extremely interesting for you, I think, is Mr. Berlanti is currently the executive producer on a little known superhero named Batwoman standalone series.
Oh boy. The live
Yes,
action that's gonna be coming out soon?
that's correct. On the CW, I believe, is the network he's working on that with. But basically, the show is it flies by. It's That's one of the reasons why I love it. I believe it's 11 or 12 episodes, and you think it's going to start a certain way when you first watch the first episode, but my goodness, does it end in somewhere completely different? And
Oh,
and the great thing about it, Peter, is it's like kind of it kind of makes you uncomfortable when you're watching it. Like you're like kind of cringing a little bit, but you're like can't keep your eyes away from the TV. You're like, is this real life? Holy crap, this is actually happening. It's a 10 out of 10 show in my opinion. I
wow.
love it. It's the spiritual successor to Dexter in my opinion. Just an A+ show.
Sweet. I am looking for new Netflix things to watch because I'm sure that you, as well as everyone else, have sort of Netflix laundry list on their list there, and they burn through shows, and then you're like, oh, what do I watch next? So that's really awesome. I was gonna say it reminds me sort of a like Black Mirror, but with like a whole continuing story, obviously, because Black Mirror is just one episode shot.
Yeah, that's a good example. It doesn't have any sci-fi in it, but the story is in terms of the social media aspect, yes, that is a heavy plot point in you.
Yeah.
It definitely moves the story. Oh my God, I just anybody out there who is a fan of psychological thrillers, who's a fan of kind of like crime type TV shows, this is one for you. Especially watch it with your significant loved one because there's moments in the series where if you have a partner watching it with you, you just turn your head and you look at each other like, holy crap.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a fun show to watch with your loved ones.
Okay, so usually we do a virgin year and we go into another virgin year. But for this one, I want to do just a question round right here on you. I'm gonna ask Tony some questions,
All
and
right.
I'm gonna keep those in my head to see. Usually when we do virgin years, I don't like to dismiss anything. So if anything, this is more of like, what do we watch first?
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's a
even
good
if we
point.
don't get to you right now, maybe we'll get to you later in the next episode.
So, by the way, I actually just realized we haven't told our audience what the follow-up to the Virgin Years is. Just how I'm going to share with you a segment or a TV show I like, and you're going to share something that you like. But then, what do we do at the end of the show, and where do we move forward in the next episode? I think it's important to clarify with our listeners.
Yes, sir, it is. So the meat and potatoes of Geek This is basically we pick a thing that we want to digest as geek and pop culture fans. So in this case, you. We take you and we're going to watch it and expand upon it. And especially me being the virgin of it, I'm going to go into it, watch the series, and then we'll come back with continuing podcasts of how I feel about watching the series, what episodes. We'll probably do a couple episodes at a time, and just really get into the neat and gritty of it. If you'd like to see or hear rather an example of this, go ahead and listen to. I'm saying watch. It's not visual. Listen to our Spider-Verse podcast where we kind of really break down those comic book issues of Into the Spider-Verse. That's a great example of what we're trying to achieve. But with Virgin Ears, we bring up a topic that sort of one-ups each other. So Tony did a very good job of giving me nice little tidbits and information of, hey, this is why we should like invest our time into this.
Yes.
And hopefully I'm going to do the same with mine.
All right. So okay, good.
We're going to go into a question round right now about you. So what I wanted to know about you, I'll give an example here. Sometimes I'll be watching, especially the first Punisher season on Netflix. I felt like don't get me wrong, it's a good show, but I felt like 2 or maybe 3 of those episodes just fell really, really flat.
Yeah,
so my question to you, Tony, is any episodes in you, did they seem to fall flat for you?
No, I feel like every episode had let me put it this way. Every episode was relevant to the overall series in a way that it was non-dispensable. It had every episode needed to be there in order for the full story to work, if that makes any sense.
Nice. Is it really good paced? Because like in some like Punisher or even Daredevil episodes, like talk, just get to the punching already.
Yeah. Well, there's not a whole lot of how do I put this? There is dialogue, of course. However, it's not wasted, and every segment is like I said, is necessary to the overall story. So although there's not necessarily like significant gun battles or high speed chases, the action is in the drama, is in the moment. It's in the, is he really gonna do this? Is he gonna get caught? Oh my god, what's happening? It's intriguing all the way through.
It's thrilling.
Yes.
Perfect. Great. Another question I have, is there a chance for, I don't know why I do this, I usually do this with Netflix shows. I'm like, if there's not another season of it, I kind of don't want the best time. I know that sounds really snobby, but I like something that continues.
You know what? Let me pick up on that theme. I'm kind of the opposite.
Oh, really?
I feel like if there's more than one, especially more than 2 seasons, I kind of feel like averse to watching it because I feel like, wow, that's a lot of time I have to invest. And if it's not that great in the first couple episodes, I'm not gonna watch it. Why would I like continue to 3 seasons of a show that isn't particularly intriguing in the first couple episodes? So I feel like if it's only a 1 season show, I'm down for that because at least I can kind of consume it really quick. And then if I like it, then well, I guess I can just rewatch.
Nice. That's true. I understand that. It's more like an oversaturation.
Yeah.
And like, it's weird because now I haven't gotten to the new season of Luke Cage or Iron Fist because I know they canceled, and I'm like, do I really want to watch it?
See what I mean? I think the fact that there's more seasons kind of, for me at least, makes me go, damn, is the first season just kind of a big, long, boring introduction and then the action gets good in season 2? I feel this way with another show I just started watching, not to go on a tangent, but I keep hearing it's a really good sci-fi. I am huge into sci-fi. My friends
at work, heard of that too, yeah.
Yeah, they keep telling me like you gotta watch it. This is the show for you. But I'm like, man, that thing's like in its 3rd or 4th season. I don't know if I can do it.
Right. It's like when someone says to me, "You should start watching Doctor Who." Or
that's a perfect example. What a good example. Oh,
I cut off there. I'm still here. Blah blah blah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
When someone says to me, "Peter, you should go watch Doctor Who or Battlestar Galactica," it's like, Jesus, where the hell do I even begin with those? I'm not even gonna touch that.
And I'm gonna one up you on that one. And this is a much more modern. You've probably watched it. Well, I don't know if you have, but people left and right tell me you gotta watch Game of Thrones, and it's like
yeah.
I don't know how I
Yeah,
feel
I
about
could
that.
put something on that as well. I would say you got to read Game of Thrones. Just read one. Just read book one, and that's it.
Okay. So
I
you
think that's
see,
sufficient.
and isn't it something also about, well, I guess in the Netflix era it's changing a little bit, but it doesn't it say something about the fact that as a viewer we kind of want to grow and let's see, grow and move forward with a
Yeah,
story that hasn't necessarily already ended. So Breaking Bad, um, I kind of watched that show as it progressed, and that was really fun because you were forced to kind of wait until the next episode or
yeah,
the next season came out, and
totally.
that I don't know, something about that kind of makes me connect with it more.
Walking Dead definitely was like that in the past. Not so much anymore. But
Yes.
there's this oversaturation, and this is kind of the reason for this podcast is we want to experience new things, we want to grow with things, and we
Yes.
want it to be awesome.
Absolutely. So sorry about that tangent. Just go on. More
No,
questions about
that
you,
was a
sir.
great tangent. I think that was basically my main two. I don't know why that's my criteria. But yeah, I gotta look at that too, because you're right. Sometimes I'm scared to try new things because I'm like, oh, it's only one season. If I like it, it's over.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even answer your question.
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
So in let's see, 18, the writers confirmed that there was going to be a sequel to You. So we know that's happening, and it's also based on the sequel to the book You called Hidden Bodies.
nice, cool. I'm gonna read those books too. So yeah, I think we're definitely gonna get into you. We'll see which one of these we want to do digest first. Uh, I'm gonna head into my virgin ears right now. Sometimes we don't not even sure if it's virgin to the other person. We like to leave little clues or hints to each other. So I showed Tony a picture, and remember when I said, "Hey, if someone says watch Doctor Who and Battlestar Galactica, I kind of write them off."
Yeah.
Well, this is one of those franchises which is kind of huge in scope, but I think I found a solution where it condenses into something hopefully viewable to you.
Okay.
So I showed Tony this picture of an orange background with a symbol on it, and this belongs to a gi of someone else. I'm gonna pop a picture onto the chat. This person's wearing blue and orange. Let's see if Mr. Tony recognizes this person.
All right. I'm ready for it. Let's see. What do we have here? Now, it's loading. Aha! Yes, of course I know who that is. For the
Ah,
listeners out there, you can't see, but how about Peter? You describe the character, and let's see if our viewers can guess what it is before you announce who it is.
all right. He has very unique hairstyle, very spiky. It's black.
Yes.
Usually is in a fighting pose, ready to go. Has nice combat boots, and he never really backs down from the fight. And he even wants his opponent to be better, and he'll spend time to sure his opponent is ready for a fight. And this
Uh,
is oh, go
can I?
ahead.
I just want to. This is fun for the listeners. This individual character also has a equally well. Some people would maybe not characterize it that way, but I think equally strong son. And
Oh,
also, he has, or has had, I guess, I don't know too much about it, a tail. And at some point in his life, has transformed into a giant monkey, as far as I know.
there you go. Perfect. You actually know. So this quasi version, you know a lot more than I thought. So yes, this is Son Goku of Dragon Ball Z fame. And my virgin ears today, I know Tony obviously recognizes the character, probably from any of the countless Dragon Ball series before. But mine is going to be Dragon Ball Super. Now, there was a movie out recently called Dragon Ball Super Broly. I guess it had sort of a limited release because I'm having trouble finding showtimes for it. But even looking at the movie Broly, I figured well, Tony knows a good knowledge base for Dragon Ball, but even Broly is sort of reaching back. It's kind of like the Spider Verse of the Dragon Ball series, kind of reaching back into the lore of Dragon Ball. So
Really?
rather than that, yeah, I feel like it gets Ray back in there, which is maybe something we can do later. But I feel like I have a solution, better solution that's more condensed. It continues the story, but it will feel fresher and newer. And even if you're not up to speed on anything Dragon Ball, it would be even better to watch. So the movies I'm thinking about are already out there into the universe. It's called Dragon Ball Super Battle of the Gods, and there's also one called Dragon Ball Super Resurrection F.
Okay,
Now,
so
I'll go
sorry.
for it.
I was just gonna ask. You said, I believe, three different titles. You said
Yes, I'm
you.
sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm just trying to, because, like you said, there's a lot involved in these this animated series. So you said there's Dragon Ball. I think you said Brawly, and then two movies. Are they all three movies, or what am I missing here?
Yes, they are all three movies. So, what happens
Wow.
is, so Broly is a brand new movie that's out in theaters right now. With these other two movies, they're very smart over at Funimation. This is the anime company that produces the show. They compact episodes of the season, re-edit it, even put in new footage, and make them into sort of back in our days, made straight to VHS movies. So these are the other two movies I'm talking about: is Resurrection F and Battle of the Gods. Now you can pick one if you'd like. If you do pick one, I would choose Battle of the Gods, but I'll give a little brief synopsis of both.
Okay.
So Resurrection F deals with the resurrection of F, standing for Frieza. Do you know who Frieza is, good sir?
Yes, sir. I do.
Ah, great, great. This is awesome. So Frieza is the evil tyrant. You'll know him from his white and purple appearance. He was like, if you watched Dragon Ball Z back in the day, he was the main bad. He was the guy. He was the Thanos almost of that show. It took several. You can tell how bad a person is, and what it takes several episodes to take him down.
I like
Um,
that.
so he already, even within Dragon Ball Z, he already had resurrections. So they defeated him. He came back, and then Trunks defeated him. But again, now he's back. I
Yeah.
think his popularity is probably what is not letting him staying dead for good, because people just love Frieza and love how villainous he is and how the exact opposite of Goku. So he comes back in Dragon Ball Super, and he just decides to wreck shit up once again. And this main fight happens on Earth with the whole Dragon Ball crew there. But little does Frieza know that the Dragon Ball cast has these newfound abilities, as
Hmm.
well as, but as little as they do know, Frieza also has a newfound ability as well. And it's
Hmm.
pretty awesome to see the sort of growth of the characters. I think that's what um, I find fascinating the most about these shows, is that the characters are not static. They're not like Ash Ketchum in Pokemon. He's like, it's been 20 years of Pokemon, but he hasn't aged a day.
Right.
With Dragon Ball, these characters grow, they get stronger, stronger, and even if they reach their limit, there's a slogan in Dragon Ball called Limit Break, which they just keep going through their limits and getting more powerful. And it's
Hmm.
really awesome to see where they are now as opposed to where they were before. And as a fan, it makes me want to watch the old episodes even today.
So, if I could pause you for a second, there's a crap ton of
Oh, yes.
episodes and material for Dragon
Oh,
Ball Z.
yes.
Is it all canon? Is it all continuous in the storyline? Or,
Very good
for
question.
example, is this new Brawley movie, is it 100% set independent and unrelated to everything else?
It's definitely canon. They kind of created a new canon for themselves now. So think of it as like DC, how DC had the Golden Age, the Silver Age. and they had now we're in the new canon of DC, which is the new 52. So it's kind of like that, but
Okay.
it's somehow Dragon Ball is unique in a way because somehow it pays respect to all the things in the past that they don't like start over each time. You just get back into it, and maybe they add something new or change the timeline just a little bit. Just how like in Spider-Man Homecoming they kind of messed with that timeline while paying homage to the original Avengers. Kind of
Okay.
like that. They make small little changes, but still make it enjoyable to the fan.
All right, that's a good answer. That makes sense.
Movies, I feel like if you're coming in fresh or if you have a little knowledge of it, this will reintroduce you to the series that is occurring now, which is Dragon Ball Super. So I talked about a little bit about Resurrection F, but even as more of a starting point is Battle of the Gods, Dragon Ball Super.
And sorry, you were saying Battle of the Gods. So, help me kind of put these things in chronological order. So, Resurrection F is a movie which is the first one in this topic that you're talking about, or is it
Okay,
Dragon
so
Ball Super?
I'm even talking about it out of order myself. It's easy to get confused.
Sorry.
What happened? Dragon Ball timeline. Goku was a kid, right?
Yeah.
He collects the Dragon Balls. Dragon Ball Z,
Yep.
growing up fighting. That went to outer space. So Dragon Ball started on Earth, where Goku wants to be the most powerful person on Earth. Dragon Ball Z went up.
Okay. There you are. So, you
I
can
am
pick up. You're back. You can pick up after you said they fought on Earth and then they went to space.
That's right. So Goku ventures out into space. Well, he finds new foes who are even stronger than he is currently, and he
Okay.
keeps. If you take it as sort of Goku's personal growth, because he is sort of the main character of this whole series, so he gets strong on Earth, finds out there's aliens who are stronger than him. He becomes stronger than them, defeats them like Frieza. Then some androids from the future. He finds out there's future people who are stronger than him. He defeats them in the Android Saga and the Cell Saga. And then he goes into even more sort of godly with freaking gods in the Buu Saga, knowing there's people who have divine power. And
Majin
Goku
Buu.
wants to, Majin Buu wants to get strong to defeat Majin Buu, who has godly like power. And then in Battle of the Gods.
Okay, great. That's a good pause because that's where my knowledge of Dragon Ball kind of just stops right there. I'm very familiar with the original 90s animated series. I think it's the 90s. With everything you just described up until Majin Buu, and even that I'm still a little unfamiliar, but I know enough about it to know who he is, and he has a big M on his head, and he's super, super, super strong, and that's where it ends. So if we could pick up from there, that would be very helpful.
Perfect. He defeats Majin Buu. Now, Goku, as much as we fans know it, watching the end of this Dragon Ball Z series at the end of the Majin Buu saga, he is the strongest person out there. Second would be Vegeta.
Okay.
And so there, what else is there? Now we learned that there's gods because there's King Kais, there's the Kais, and they're gods. But Goku seeks to be stronger. Little do we know that out there in the universe, there's been a sleeping god. This is the god of destruction. His name is Lord Beerus. And Lord Beerus wakes up after, I don't know, I think it was centuries of slumber. He wakes up every now and then, centuries of slumber. And what he does is he's kind of a Thanos type in his own right. He's a lot nicer than Thanos, I'd like to say. And he sort of cleanses the universe. He destroys whole worlds or even half of worlds in the regards to balance. Everything has to be balanced. If there needs to be life, there needs to be death and destruction, of course. And so there always has to be make sure that the universe is in balance. So what wakes him up from his slumber is a sort of prophecy dream that he has about something called a Super Saiyan God. And he asks his partner, who is an angel, they refer to him as an angel, another sort of divinity, who is even more powerful than him, the god of destruction. The angel kind of keeps him in check. So he asks the angel, whose name is Whis, where is the Super Saiyan God? I have a prophecy of this. And so Whis is the all-knowing angel, and he knows that Saiyans are on Earth. And that's, I guess, where I'll leave that titillizing tidbit there.
Okay. All right. Cool. And that one is
Battle of the Gods.
Okay. And that's a movie.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, perfect example and explanation. Thank you for that.
What's interesting about this movie is that at the end of it, so we learn that there's gods, definitely destruction gods, but at the end of it, we'll learn that there is even. It's so great, this series, because a lot of people are doing this now. We learned that there is multiverses and even more people for Goku to.
Wow. I like that. See, I love that cliffhanger. There's multiverses. Heck yeah.
So, Battle for the Gods is just Goku versus Beerus.
All right. Oh, okay. Got it.
Actually, you know what? I haven't watched it myself even, but I know the premise. So I'm interested to see what is all included into it. I'm interested to see how much further it goes into this Dragon Ball Super story. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's interesting, these movies, because if you start watching the series, they're definitely really smart at Funimation, because they make these movies in order to condense it and to get more people into the show.
Yeah.
I feel like they can accomplish with these movies.
Yes.
The only reason why I say Broly wouldn't be sort of good to go into is because it continues all this information. So I feel like going into it, it would be kind of hard for someone saying, "Oh, he's Super Saiyan." Wait, what? Well, how did he get all this power all of a sudden?
Okay.
So it'd be kind of confusing, I think.
So let's see. Again, because I feel like there's a lot of information. I keep saying that, but that's it is true.
It is the case. It's one of these big franchises.
Giant. And so if you were to kind of tell me, Tony, this is what you need to watch in order, don't worry so much about how much material I'd have to consume, because I want to get it right. You know, I am really interested in this, and I've always wanted to go back to Dragon Ball Z,
Awesome.
but I never knew where to pick up.
So this is a great picking up point. This is a great way to, after you watch these movies, you can get into the news.
Okay. Down. And so you said the first one I should definitely watch would be Ressurrection F?
No, go for Battle for the Gods first and watch Ressurrection F after.
Battle of the Gods, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. And that's available on Amazon Prime for $2.99. Perfect.
Also,
there's other ways, I've heard. Yeah. Great. And so let me ask you this. With the knowledge that obviously I just shared with you that I know about, is that enough material to get me into and feel comfortable in watching Battle of the Gods?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, a lot. I was like, we've been best buds for a while, me and Tony, some of his family members. Like, oh, so I never knew if you yourself knew a lot about Dragon Ball. I knew the family members did, but maybe you. So I was like, test the waters a little bit.
Yeah. So you're right. A lot of my family definitely to Dragon Ball Z. In particular, one of my cousins is a diehard fan, and so I never really shared my knowledge of Dragon Ball Z. This is kind of the first time me and Peter talk about this, which is funny considering we've known each other for like over a decade. But it's something I've always wanted. I swear to God, I've always wanted to get back into Dragon Ball Z, and I'm so excited that I finally have an opportunity.
Yes. All right. So I was saying, oh man, I lost my track. Yeah, I was in the exact same position you are before I started watching the new series because I was like, oh, I want to watch the new series, but like I was like, wait, do I know enough to go into the new series? But it turned out all gravy. And even watching the new series made me go back because they do a lot of reference points back to the original series. Made me go back and rewatch some of the other ones.
Okay, alone. There are others like me who have wanted to get back in and have kind of felt a little overwhelmed, but there's a path forward apparently.
Yes, exactly. You can come in this liking Dragon Ball, and then you'll be able to get right back into it. And it's yeah, Dragon Ball is one of those franchises again, like Doctor Who, anything or like Star Trek, can be like, I want to watch it, but I don't know because there's the other series. Can I do it? You definitely can. They really ease you into it.
Yes, excellent. Now, here's a pop question. Would somebody who has very, very minimal knowledge of Dragon Ball Z be able to watch Battle of the Gods and still walk away satisfied knowing what happened?
I believe so. Even if that's why I brought it forward, because even if you didn't have a base knowledge, I believe you can go into it and still enjoy it.
Now, that's a great answer. Now, as a standalone movie, disregard, you know, the fan history prior to this movie. Is it just a good movie? Period.
That's a good question. Yeah, I believe it is. It's good start sort of to finish. What's great about the Dragon Ball series is that it's always continual. So you know the ending is going to continue into something more. It never Dragon Ball is never finished.
That's so
So it's like
funny.
yeah, so it's really interesting to see what they do with it. And what's great about it being into a movie versus watching the series. Some battles can take freaking 4, 3, 5 episodes, just like when he was fighting Frieza in Dragon Ball Z. So condensing it into like an hour and a half movie, it's just gonna make it flow much better. You can go right back into the series after that.
See, the reason why I really am digging this topic is because something that hasn't really happened before in our Virgin Years discussions, which is one of us is aware of what it is, but not enough to say that they're an expert or nowhere near enough to be able to even say, yeah, I know what you're talking about. So it's
Yep,
kind of a
yep.
hybrid Virgin Years, which is so
It is.
unique.
It really is. Yeah, so yeah, the thing about especially back in our day watching Dragon Ball, just things would take forever. Episodes were drawn out. Then I came to learn doing research that this was because the show, similar to how the Game of Thrones show is and the books are, the show was pumping out episodes faster than the manga writer could write manga or comic books about Dragon Ball Z. So there was a lot of filler episodes. They had to draw out battles because the manga writer didn't finish the battle yet.
So that's why I had no idea. That's a great
Yes,
trivia.
little tidbit. Shit wasn't coming out fast enough. They definitely did a sort of Game of Thrones of it. That's why it's easy for me as a Dragon Ball Z fan to get into Game of Thrones because I kind of understand where they're coming from.
Oh. Oh wow, and I just looked this movie up, Peter. It looks like it's not necessarily that new, 2013.
Yeah, it just
Interesting.
came out. So it's everything's new to us as the American consumer. This has been years in the past for the Japan culture, and they already way past Dragon Ball Super at this point. We're playing catch up.
Wow, okay, okay. Fascinating.
Yeah, so it really condenses it, and even as the series itself, as just the normal TV series, Dragon Ball Super moves at a way faster, more fluid pace than Dragon.
And so I'm sorry, you cut off a little bit, but my question for you is, and I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm just not really understanding what you're talking about, but Dragon Ball Super is the TV series after Dragon Ball Battle of the Gods?
So what happens is after
Sorry.
so after Dragon Ball Z, after the Majin Buu saga,
Yeah.
comes Dragon Ball Super directly after that. The Dragon Ball Super series is what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Now,
so
what the movies are just segments of episodes into the show, condensed, and they even put new footage in to make it a whole movie about a part of the Dragon Ball series story that happened.
Okay, would I need to watch Dragon Ball Super, or like you're saying, Battle of the Gods basically incorporates bits from this show?
Yes, exactly. So not at
Okay.
all. So Battle for the Gods introduces the sort of new realm of possibilities for Goku. It's the beginning of the Dragon Ball Super series, condensed, like the first, I want to say, 10-ish episodes condensed into a movie format.
Okay, great, got it.
That's where it gets really confusing. Sorry. And they
Perfect.
did this with not only they're doing this with Dragon Ball Super, but they've done this in the past with Dragon Ball Z. There's even chunks of I forget what the first resurrection of Frieza was called. It was another resurrection, and with Frieza, and that was just another movie that was basically Frieza coming back and Trunks defeating him, sort of thing.
Okay. All right. Now everything's starting to make a lot more sense. Thank you.
Yeah, it is confusing. Um, but what I like about the movies, it gets you right into the action.
Perfect. Okay.
So that was. Do you have any more questions? And I guess we'll call this the question round.
Uh, okay. So, long story short, so I can kind of conceptualize this in my head. It's Dragon Ball Super takes place after the Majin Buu events in Dragon Ball
Yes.
Z, and
Yes.
Dragon Ball Battle of the Gods incorporates bits and pieces from the entire series of Dragon Ball Super, and it kind of just does a lightning round to get you to the point where you need to understand, so you can kind of enjoy that movie as a standalone film.
Yeah.
After Battle of the Gods, is
Resurrection F, which is about
Ressurrection,
Frieza coming back.
right? And that's the movie, right? Resurrection F.
Yes, correct.
Okay, great. And then after Resurrection F is the one that's out right now, Brawly, the film.
Broly's actually after even the Super series.
Okay, so what's after Resurrection F?
You can just go back into the series, which is funny because if you start with episode 1, you're going to see a lot of the same material. But I'm sure if you Wikipedia it, you can find
The starting point.
a starting point to get to.
That is a little confusing because it goes back and forth, you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh. So it's like Dragon Ball Battle of the Gods, and then Resurrection F, and then back to Dragon Ball Super at some point in Dragon Ball Super, basically, not
Yes,
episode 1. Okay.
exactly. But if
Is
you start from the beginning, you'll notice some scenes, and I mean
is
you'll get back into it.
is Dragon Ball Super done, or is it still on airing shows on TV?
What's great is it's already finished, and what's happening now is just we're waiting for the English dubs of it.
Oh, really? Okay. And so this you mentioned, I don't think we've talked at all about the new movie that's out in theaters. You said you were having a hard time finding showtimes.
Yeah, so that new movie comes after Super even, and it kind of pays
Oh,
homage to everything, but it's sort of the follow up to Super.
okay. That's kind of like the ultimate penultimate. Like this is the super finale. No
Yeah,
pun
because reading
intended.
about it, I was like, I don't know if I should have Tony watch that because it's going to be even more confusing.
Ah, I'm so glad that you said that because I probably would have wanted, but I'm so glad that there's somebody like you that's telling me where to start and where to stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
Um,
Okay, that's kind of all the questions I had. You've really done a good job of educating me.
so as a thing, I think what we should do is to first, if we're doing, we're both going to do these years, hands down. But I think maybe first we will start with Battle for the Gods as it is condensed into a movie, and then
Yeah.
we can even go into you. And
Okay, I
then
think
what
that's a
I
good
would
plan.
like, if you ever find time, if you're continuing Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super rather, and if you see something cool, if you continue the series, we can talk about that off the cost in the episodes as well.
Okay, I like that.
Previously on Geek This. Oh, Tony, did you see Dragon Ball Super? Oh, yes, I did. It was powering up.
Heck yeah, that's exactly right. That's good.
That's what would happen. I saw this guy. He was standing and he was powering up for 5 episodes, man.
5 episodes. Cool. Awesome. I'm down.
Cool. So we have a bonus thing that Mr. Tony would like to add.
Oh yeah.
Probably another virgin years for me, but just something we like to add just to see if anyone knows about it out there and gain awareness and interest into this. It's a video game, yes?
Yeah, it's a video game. I'm sure you definitely have heard of it before. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to play it. It's called the Rick and Morty VR game.
Oh, I definitely heard of this, yes.
And the interesting thing about this is I actually was able to get it on the PlayStation VR, but the great thing about it is it has many platforms. As a matter of fact, you could
Oh,
even
no, really?
play. Yeah, you could actually play it on your smartphone if you have one of those little VR boxes, like the Google Play cardboard boxes, or on the HTC Vive, or on the Oculus Rift. So there's many ways
Oh,
to enjoy
interesting.
this game. Yeah, so it's. I'll tell you this. What I will say is it's very short. Okay, it's a very short game, but there's so much content, so much replayability value in there
Nice,
because
nice.
like it's almost like the mini quests and explorations are way larger than the main story.
Great.
Um,
Yeah,
it's
I love that
actually
about it now.
it's actually really challenging, but in a fun, addictive way because it's a puzzle type game. But some of the puzzles are really difficult, but they're like challenging and it's fun. So you don't find yourself doing the same thing over and over again. Like there's many games. There's even a shooting gallery, which is so fun with VR. Oh my gosh, it's like if you haven't played a shooting game in VR, you're missing out.
Oh,
Um,
man.
and then I don't know if you've seen all episodes of Rick and Morty, right?
Yes, I have. I'm caught up on Rick and Morty, sir.
Great. So there's this in the Rick and Morty game. There's this episode where Rick and Morty go to kind of like this space arcade, and Morty is playing this video
Oh, you
game
get to
that's.
live the life of whatever his name was.
Yes, you get to play the fan favorite minigame Troy. You actually get to play
Oh
that.
my god. What? That's
It's a,
ridiculous. It's
it's
a VR
ridiculous.
VR.
It is. Isn't that crazy? It's a VR. Talk about Inception, and it's fun. Unfortunately, I've only made the longest I've made it is 89 years as Troy. Apparently,
Oh my
people have made
god.
it to 100 years, which is crazy.
A
Um,
hundred? That's ridiculous.
yeah, it's very fun. There's a lot, like a trillion bits of Easter eggs, and you know what? It's actually canon, which is hilarious.
Oh,
There's
the
like,
game canon?
yeah, like, well, no, like, there's certain missions um, that Morty does, or that you see him do because you don't necessarily play Morty, you play Clone Morty. But the real OG Morty, he does certain things in the game, and then he's like, like this is now canon. It's so like breaking the fourth
Oh, that's
wall like Deadpool.
hilarious.
It's
That's
so
hilarious.
like yeah, he's like this is now gonna be canon forever, and all the Rick and Morty's forever and ever. It's so funny the way they like just kind of like tongue in cheek discuss themselves.
That's hilarious.
It's a great
You know
little
what's
fun game.
cool is there's a Dragon Ball game called Fighter Z that also is in canon. It's its own standalone thing, but it's in canon with the universe as well.
Oh, that's so funny. So yeah, whenever you have a chance to come over, definitely I want you to play this game.
I always thought upon initially hearing it, I always thought it was just a sort of a sandbox where you can just do whatever, but there's actually sort of it's more linear. You got to actually do some missions. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hilarious because the main mission, I'm not gonna spoil it, but like okay, it's an old like how do I say this? There are levels, if you will, there's levels and you progress to achieve one giant goal. Okay? And the giant goal is like effing hilarious. It's hysterical. Like once you get to that final goal, you're like, really? Like all that work to accomplish
Wow.
this, and it's
And
so funny.
Wow, and that's canon within the show?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Okay, I am intrigued. I will have to
Amazing
figure
voice
out how to do
acting
the
too.
VR. As everyone reprises their roles, I imagine.
Yes.
Yeah, it's also great with the new Dragon Ball Z stuff. Is everyone is reprising the roles?
Oh,
Man,
good. That's always good.
that's ridiculous. Yeah, I initially thought it was just like there's a game called Job Simulator. Have you heard of that one?
I have heard of it. I have not played it.
Yeah, that one's just really just a sandbox where you can just mess around. So I was like, oh, it's just a Rick and Morty where you're just messing around. And like, I imagined it was in Rick's garage, but it's nice to know there's actually a story that goes along with it.
Yeah, so the majority of the game does take place in Rick's garage. However, there's a portal, of course, because it's Rick and Morty, that can
Yes.
portal to different places. Like for
Don't go through
example,
the portal, kitty.
for example, when you went, I went through the portal and I went into space. It's kind of like, oh crap, like kind of trippy because you're actually in space, and it's the drawings aren't realistic, but you still kind of have this like feeling of like, whoa, there's Earth down there, and I'm in the galaxy. It's very trippy.
Wow, that's freaking awesome, dude. Now I'm really interested in it. Wow.
Yep. So that's it. That's my little bonus for
VR
GeeKing
is the
segment.
future. Yeah, bonus. You get a bonus one with this one. So next podcast we will continue our discussion. Maybe we'll do a twofer. We'll try to combine both Battle for the Gods, Dragon Ball Super, and as well as I'll get some episodes of you under my belt.
Yeah, we'll see how far we get with
Who's to
it.
come?
I'm pretty sure I can digest this movie pretty quickly, but I know you is a TV show and time is always limited, so don't feel too compelled to watch the whole thing if you can't.
Cool. No worries. I will definitely get into it. All right, so that's gonna do it here from Geek This. Thanks for bearing with us with all our trouble there. But I'm going to edit it, and it's gonna be great. So stay tuned for our next podcast where we're gonna be discussing more about you on Netflix and Dragon Ball Super Battle for the Gods. All right,
Yes.
thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
And